It's time for America Outdoors Radio, the show that covers the outdoor scene across the U.S. of A. and the entire continent. Fishing, hunting, conservation, outdoor recreation, and great destinations. We cover it all every week. It's your country, your outdoors. Let's explore it together with your host, John Cruz.
Welcome aboard. If you're a passionate hunter like me, I've got news for you. We're in trouble. Let me explain. In 1970, 40 million Americans, 20% of our nation's population, were hunters. Hunting was an admired pastime to the point that a lot of schools across our country would close for the opening of deer season because, well, the administrators, they knew the kids were going to be out hunting with their family, and I suspect many of the teachers wanted to be out there too. Fast forward to the present, where only 11.5 million Americans hunt, despite the fact our nation's population has grown by over 100 million since 1970. When you do the math, only 4% of us in America today are hunters. Our numbers are declining, and our voice is being drowned out by anti-hunters, which includes allies in some mainstream media outlets. There are a lot of reasons why this is happening, but first and foremost is the fact that the greatest generation, which took to the marshes and fields after the Second World War, they've passed. And the baby boomer generation that they took to the field with them, well, we're aging out of hunting as a sport. I mean, it is hard work after all, and younger generations are unfortunately not taking our place. The lack of hunting is also harmful to our wildlife. I know, it seems counterintuitive, but the fact of the matter is, hunters pay the freight when it comes to conservation, and we do so every time we buy a firearm or ammunition, thanks to the Pittman-Robertson Act enacted in 1937 that has seen over $7 billion go towards state and federal conservation efforts. And let's not forget that duck stamp we buy as waterfowl hunters. That money goes towards habitat not only for our feathered friends with webbed feet, but it also benefits all sorts of other wildlife that call our wetlands and prairie potholes home. As our numbers decline as hunters, the dollars going to wildlife decline as well, and those anti-hunting groups and environmental organizations that file lawsuits galore regarding wildlife, the vast majority of them, they don't contribute a dime to habitat or conservation. This week on the show, we're going to talk to a couple of guests about hunting and how to turn this situation around. One of those guests is Eric Dinger. He hails from Nebraska. He's the founder of Powderhook. Powderhook is an app that you download onto your smartphone that brings together a community of those who want to learn about hunting and mentors that can help them out. He'll be talking about the current strategy called R3 of recruiting, retaining, and reactivating hunters to include what's working and what's not on a nationwide basis. We'll also talk to Mark Hatfield with the National Wild Turkey Federation. This organization is not only doing great conservation work for turkey and other wildlife, but they are taking a leading role in R3 efforts to save our hunting heritage in America. Mark will talk not only about that, but also about some good places around the country where they've been doing some hard habitat work that should translate into some very good turkey hunting for you this spring. It's not all hunting this week. Oh no, we've got fishing for you too. And one of the better waters to fish in these United States of America, especially if you're after lake trout and kokanee, is Flaming Gorge Reservoir, which borders the states of Wyoming and Utah. Colton Christenson, the owner of Christenson's Lakeshore Tackle in Utah, has been fishing this big lake lately and will not only share a fishing report with us, but also give you some tips about tactics to use to catch fish right after that ice comes off. We've got outdoors news as well, covering some fishing tournaments that have been taking place over the last week or two, and about a place that's picking up a lot of interest as an elk hunting destination. Getting back to Flaming Gorge Reservoir, one thing you'll want to have if you're fishing there, or for that matter, just about any other body of water, is a boat. But maybe you're short on space, maybe you don't have room to be hauling a boat around on a trailer. Fortunately, we've got just the boat for you that solves that problem. Our first guest today is Sandy Kaye. He is the president of Porta-Bote International, coming at you from Mountain View, California. Sandy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So, Sandy, the Porta-Bote's been around for a long time. I think a lot of our listeners are familiar with it, but not all of them. So for those who've never seen a Porta-Bote before, why don't you describe it? And why don't you explain why this is so popular for people who want to have a boat but don't have the space for a boat?
Well, Porta-Bote's been around, believe it or not, for over 35 years. We now have over 250,000 boats out there around the world. We first started selling Porta-Bote overseas years and years ago, and the reason for that is when Porta-Bote first came out, gasoline was 35 cents a gallon, etc. It was a different world, and people weren't interested in energy-saving, space-saving boats. Now, what is Porta-Bote? It's a boat, a regular boat, that folds flat. When it's folded, it takes on the look of a surfboard. And when it opens up, put in the seats, and off you go, and you have a boat. The nice thing about Porta-Bote is that it's perfect if a person lives, for instance, in a condominium or has little space for a regular boat but loves to fish and loves to boat. Because, again, the reason we started selling more in the United States is many people are downsizing from large homes down to condos, and they have this big boat, and there's no place to store it. So the Porta-Bote can hang up on the wall or under a bed or whatever, and that's one of the nice things about it.
Sandy, the Porta-Bote, I know it comes in three sizes, 10 foot, 12 foot, 14 foot. Like you said, it folds down, and it's really easy to store just about anywhere. And folks, it doesn't take long to set up. Once you get the hang of it, you can do this in like 3 minutes. In fact, I saw a video of a guy who did just that. 3 minutes, he had his Porta-Bote put together and in the water. These boats, I think a lot of people, when they first see them, they think of them, well, this is a rowboat, but they'll take an outboard motor, won't they?
Oh, yes. It becomes a regular motorboat. It'll take up to 6 horsepower, and that's the nice thing. You don't need 35 horsepower to move. And again, the nice thing about Porta-Bote is that, well, I'm not going to talk about inflatables, but we like inflatable owners because they eventually buy, many of them buy Porta-Bote because of the, punctures and things. The material that Porta-Bote is made of, it's a copolymer polypropylene, which means it's similar to the type of material they make bulletproof vests out of. So nothing is indestructible, but this stuff comes very close. And we have a 10-year limited warranty. And again, we've been around for many years, so obviously most people don't need the warranty. We've had Porta-Bote handed down from generation to generation. It's been around that long. And we've had the children and grandchildren call us, and the reason they did is because they were left the Porta-Bote in their will, and little parts were missing, and they needed help with
Oh, that is funny. So, Sandy, to quote the infomercial pitchman, but wait, there's more. There's something brand new from Porta-Bote International. That's the Alpha 3000. What's this all about?
Yes, well, this is the first new Porta-Bote, John, in 20 years. Porta-Bote has always been a favorite of a lot of people. The one complaint we had is, it'll just go so fast. They like the fact that it's very, very stable, and it doesn't sink. I mean, if you put an elephant in it, it'll sink. But, under ordinary circumstances, the boat won't sink. The big problem is, what if I want to outrun the weather? What if I, have to go? See, because the Porta-Bote would only go so fast. We redesigned the boat completely and came out with this new model, the Alpha 3000. And what is the Alpha 3000? Well, number one, the one complaint we had from people is when they folded or unfolded the boat, they had to insert and take out the transom and store it someplace. This was a 4-foot long piece, no more. Now the transom folds up with the boat, so we've made opening and closing the boat almost immediate. Number two, the new boat, we now have 32 new patents. Because of what we've done, the new boat will now go 40% faster than the original and past models.
Wow.
That means you can go very, very fast with a little engine. And we've done a lot of things to it, which I know you don't have the time to hear about. But this new boat is incredible. And as I say, with a small engine, you can go 20 miles an hour quite easily.
Sandy, I would love to hear more, but unfortunately, we are out of time. But folks, if you want to learn more about the Porta-Bote and the new Alpha 3000. This sounds like a great new addition to the Porta-Bote lineup. Just go to their website. You'll find it at Porta, P-O-R-T-A -bote, boat spelled B-O-T-E.com. That's portabote.com. Porta-Bote, the folding boat that stores like no other boat out there. Perfect for apartment and condo owners, people living in their RVs. This is the boat for you. Sandy, thanks for telling us about this today on America Outdoors Radio.
My pleasure, John. Thank you.
We've been telling you about Sportsman's Cove Lodge in Southeast Alaska for a while now, and there's a reason. They are the only Alaska lodge we talk about on this show. It's because they're truly Alaska's best lodge. The adventure starts with a float plane ride from Ketchikan, after which you'll get the chance to experience some of the best hospitality, food, and wonderful people you'll ever meet. Wildlife is abundant, from bears and deer to eagles and whales, and let's not forget the reason you're here, the fishing. Halibut, salmon, lingcod, rockfish, true cod, and more. It's all waiting for you in abundance at Sportsman's Cove Lodge. Book your trip today at alaskasbestlodge.com. That's alaskasbestlodge.com for Sportsman's Cove Lodge.
There's a place where the fishing is year-round, where the sun shines 300 days a year. The wineries and breweries are right downtown. The hiking and cycling offer spectacular views you just don't get in the big cities. Fortunately, the place is real and vibrant. It's the Dalles, Oregon, just 90 short minutes from Portland, along the gorgeous Columbia River, where the adventures are limited only by your imagination. Find out more at explorethedalles.com.
Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, a nationwide group working to keep public lands in public hands so future generations can enjoy what we enjoy. Join the group that makes a difference. Check us out at backcountryhunters.org.
Welcome back to America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. It's April and turkey hunting season is kicking off throughout our United States. So we thought this would be a great time to get Mark Hatfield on the line. He's the Director of Conservation Administration for the National Wild Turkey Federation, and he's got a few ideas about places you may want to go hunting this spring. Mark, great to have you on the show.
Glad to be here.
So, Mark, when I first came up with this idea, I was thinking of, well, let's send people to one specific state in each region. But, after talking to your staff, it became clear a better idea would be to talk about some of the places where the National Wild Turkey Federation has done some really hard lifting in terms of habitat work. And that habitat work has paid off in increased numbers of turkey that hunters might want to find. So, with that in mind, let's start off in the northeastern section of the United States and talk about a couple of places where hunters may have success due to some of the habitat work that NWTF has been engaged in.
Yeah, I'd be glad to. When I think of Northeast or New England, I'm thinking of a couple states that really come to mind and some historical states. One of those is Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is a stronghold for us in the turkey hunting arena in the Northeast, and we do approximately 60 to 80 habitat projects on the state game lands across Pennsylvania in conjunction with the Pennsylvania Game Commission. So Pennsylvania is one of those states that I think as a traditional place to turkey hunt is going to be Pennsylvania. Another one is New York, where we're doing work a lot with private landowners in southeast New York and along with kind of the western portion of New York with the Natural Resource Conservation Service trying to work on private lands. And so we have opportunity there to engage private landowners to do work. And again, New York is a stronghold for us historically when we talk about wild turkeys and wild turkey restoration across the country.
All right. Well, let's head south of the Mason-Dixon line, because I think when most people have traditionally thought of turkey hunting in the past, they've always thought of doing it in the southern United States. What are a few of the tried and true places that continue to be great places to go turkey hunting this spring?
Well, the first one that comes to mind is Florida. When you're thinking about your Grand Slam and you're wanting to travel potentially to harvest a wild turkey, the Osceola bird in Florida is going to be one that's very sought after. So we work hand in hand with Florida Game and Fish Commission on a cost share program where we provide funds for them to put habitat management on the ground for the betterment of wild turkeys. And so Florida is going to be one of those. And then some other states that come to mind are Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, where we're engaged with the U.S. Forest Service on stewardship contracting, where we're trying to improve public management of the public forests to ensure that we've got healthy forests, early successional habitat that basically are going to boost wild turkey populations.
Okay, moving to the Midwest. Most people, when they think of the Midwest, they think of deer hunting, they think of pheasant hunting, but there's some pretty good turkey hunting to be found in the Midwest, too.
There is. And the Midwest is one of those where it is 97 to 98% privately owned across the Midwest. So public access is short, with not a lot of it. But there are some great opportunities to work with. Illinois Department of Natural Resources is currently involved with us on some projects. We work hand in hand in Nebraska, which you could almost argue is the West, but some people would consider it the Midwest, agricultural belt. Nebraska Game and Fish and Parks is a huge partner of ours where we're doing a lot of forestry management work on state game lands as well. And then Kansas is another one. Kansas is engaged with us on a variety of different projects across the state, and you have multiple species in Kansas in which you can hunt as well.
Well, one place where there is a lot of public access, I'm talking millions of acres of public access, would be the western U.S. And the western U.S. turkey populations have been exploding in many of those states. What are a few you'd recommend out there?
A few out there would be California. California is probably an untouched resource when you think about turkey hunting. The Napa Valley there, we're working with the California Game and Fish out there on projects. The area of Arizona-New Mexico border, we're doing one of the largest stewardship projects for the U.S. Forest Service in that area, specifically targeted to improve habitat for Merriam's wild turkeys. And then you've got the Pac Northwest, which is Washington, Oregon, Idaho, where we're engaged with the U.S. Forest Service on several items and projects. And the uniqueness about Washington, Oregon, and Idaho is that it is an untapped resource. Not very many turkey hunters, but a lot of turkeys.
You are absolutely right about that. Let's shift gears. Now that we've given people some great ideas about states they ought to think about heading to for this spring or next spring for turkey hunting, let's talk about the NWTF, the National Wild Turkey Federation. What's the work that you do, and how can people get involved in it?
Well, I appreciate that question. Not many people know about the NWTF. We are the National Wild Turkey Federation. We've been around since 1973. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and our mission is the conservation of the wild turkey and the preservation of our hunting heritage. So it is a twofold mission. But essentially, we work across the country with partners to ensure that we've got proper management of both private and public lands. We're a hunting advocacy group, but we are a membership organization as well. So we have fundraising banquets that we raise money within the states. That money stays in the states, and then we are able to spend that money back on the mission. And then we work diligently with our partners to recruit, retain, and reactivate hunters across the country. We've got a 10-year initiative. We're now in our 7th year of Save the Habitat, Save the Hunt, where our goal is to conserve or enhance 4 million acres, to create, to recruit, retain, or reactivate 1.5 million hunters, and to open up access on 500,000 acres of public lands across the country. So, again, we're a partnership organization, we're a membership organization, and we're celebrating our 46th year this year for the organization.
You know, Mark, I'm really glad you brought up the part about preserving our hunting legacy. We're talking to Eric Dinger on this show as well. He's with Powderhook, and he's all about that. And we're having that very discussion about recruiting new hunters, retaining the hunters we have, and reactivating the hunters that we've lost. NWTF has definitely taken a lead among nonprofit organizations with this 10-year initiative to get these hunters into the field. I applaud NWTF for that. How can people get involved? Should we just basically steer them to the website of nwtf.org and tell them to go to their local chapter? Or what's the best way for people to engage with NWTF?
Yeah, that's a great question. I do encourage people to go to our website, which is nwtf.org. We also have a very active social media presence with Facebook and Instagram, Twitter as well. So various ways to get engaged. We do encourage individuals to participate at the local banquets and the events we have there that are fundraising, but we also encourage people that once they get involved with NWTF to volunteer, to spend their time engaging in recruiting and retaining and trying to reactivate hunters, because that is going to be the hardest work we have in front of us as an organization as an industry.
Mark, that's a great message to end this with. So again, folks, we've given you some great ideas on where to go hunt for turkey this spring. We've told you about a great organization that's doing lots of habitat work to ensure that you have turkeys in the future. And this same organization is doing great work to preserve our hunting heritage. Mark, thanks for sharing the message of NWTF with us this week on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you.
Why book at Sportsman's Cove Lodge?
Why is Alaska like no other place on Earth? It hasn't changed in thousands of years.
From the way you get here on a float plane to the way you go out with the guides and the boats, it's just a professional experience.
And I said, this is as good as it gets. I said, if you can't catch fish here, you can't catch fish anywhere.
Your experience with us will leave you speechless.
Book now at alaskasbestlodge.com.
Are you looking to reel in the marketing opportunity of a lifetime? Then set the hook, because we've got it right here for you. America Outdoors Radio has sponsorships available, and we offer affordable platforms to reach thousands of listeners interested in fishing, hunting, and the outdoors. Find out more by contacting John Cruz through his website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. That's AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. Hurry, though. If you wait too long, the big opportunity might just get away. AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com.
You're back in with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. We've got a problem in America today, and that problem is the declining number of people participating in the sport of hunting. There's been one heck of a drop from 18 million hunters in 2011 to 11.5 million hunters in 2016. That means only 4% of our population in the United States is actually participating in the sport we love, hunting. So we've got Eric Dinger on the line. He is the founder of Powderhook. He is all about trying to get people in the field for hunting. And one strategy that's being used nationwide to help with this is called R3. Eric, welcome to the show.
John, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Well, I am too. And now, I know you didn't invent R3, but I know you know all about it. Basically, it's a three-pronged strategy to recruit new hunters, to retain the hunters that we have, and to reactivate the hunters that we have lost. So let's break it down in terms of things that are going on in our United States when it pertains to this R3 concept of saving hunting. We'll start with recruiting new hunters. What's working, what's not, that you're seeing nationwide?
Sure. Well, recruiting new hunters often gets attributed to getting kids and young people into the outdoors, and certainly that's important. But the data tells us that the best time to recruit a new hunter is when they're nearing the end of their college years, in their early 20s, when people have the ability to move about the country in their own vehicle, and they're starting to earn some income, hopefully, so that they can afford to do the things that we're introducing to them. And so one of my favorite examples is an organization based in the Southeast in Georgia called QDMA, Quality Deer Management Association, which is like Ducks Unlimited, but for deer, has started a movement called Field to Fork, which is basically taking cohorts of people, usually adults, I guess almost always adults, and putting them together in a classroom environment and running them through an entire classroom series designed to teach them everything from finding a place to go to safely firing a gun to retrieving and processing an animal and then preparing it. And that organization's Field to Fork program is spreading throughout the country, and it's a good example of some of the programmatic things that agencies and NGOs, nonprofits are doing to try and help with this recruiting thing. But ultimately, for your listener, I think the thing that we need your help with as it relates to recruitment is a personal thing. You know, are you individually passing along these traditions in your life? And, you know, if you are aware that hunting is in decline and that baby boomers are aging out of hunting, what is it that you're willing to do to help with that with a young person, maybe a 20, 25-year-old college kid or somebody that's new to your company? Would you be willing to be their mentor and to take them out? Because really that's where the scale is in turning this tide as it relates to hunter recruitment. We're going to lose about 1 million hunters a year in the next 10 years with baby boomers beginning to age out of their hunting years. And so the hunters of today, the folks that are listening to your show, you know, if we want hunting to continue to pay for conservation and we want, you know, to continue to have access to places to hunt and we want politically to have a voice as it relates to conservation, then I believe, John, the biggest thing that your listener can do is find a friend, find a friend's friend, you know, find a neighbor kid, find a neighbor guy, and invite them and take them and mentor them into this way of life. Ultimately, the only way we're going to reach the kind of numbers we need in order to replace what we're losing is if we individually, the listeners of this show, you and I, make a commitment to do what it takes to get somebody new into the outdoors.
I love it. I could actually just hang up the phone with you right now, Eric, because I think you pretty much hit the ball out of the park there. But we do have two other prongs to address here. That's retaining the hunters that we do have, besides the ones that are aging out, and reactivating those hunters that have left. And, you know, when it comes to complaints that we have from hunters that are still hunting, but doing so less frequently, or those that have just given up, you always hear increased license fees. You always hear a lack of opportunity. You always hear a lack of access. What do we do to address this?
Yeah, well, number one reason that people stop hunting or go less often than they want to is time. I mean, hunting takes time. And as our culture urbanizes, we move to, you know, cities like Seattle, you know, away from the rural areas around the country. You know, so many states, like I live in Nebraska, so many rural places like around where we live talk about the brain drain, where the college kids go off to school and then they don't come back. And so what's happening is we're ending up with more people in cities, which means it's harder for those people to create the time that they need to get out of the city to go do something like a hunting trip. On top of that, you have access challenges and things like that, for sure. You know, lack of gear, lack of knowledge, lack of somebody to go with, lack of mentor. There's lots of those things. When I think of retaining hunters we already have, I think of, you know, how a retailer would think of like basket size or cross-selling, where I think so much of what we do is, as an example, 7/8 of all people who buy a hunting license will hunt deer. Well, a great way to get a hunter out again or to get them interested in something else is to invite a deer hunter to go turkey hunting with you, or to invite a pheasant hunter who only ever goes to the preserve on the weekends to come on your elk hunt with you. And so when I think of retaining hunters, I think that, again, I always point to, John, that the listener of your show is the catalyst. But in retention, we're thinking like a cross-sell, right, or an upsell. Like, how could you get a buddy of yours that goes moose hunting up in Canada every year, how could you get him or her to tag along with you on your grouse hunt this fall? That's a retention strategy that I think makes sense. It's taking hunters of one thing and inviting them along on hunting of a different type.
Eric, you are wise beyond your years. We've got about 2 minutes left, and I want you to tell folks about Powderhook. It's an app you developed. It's a community, and this gets into everything we've been talking about the last few minutes.
Yeah, so Powderhook is basically an app that's designed to help you find a mentor and to find a place. And really what we work on every day is addressing the challenges we just talked about. You know, it's hard to find a place to go. It's hard to find time. It's hard to find somebody to go with. Well, if you get the Powderhook app, we'll help you address all of those. It's a bit of a social marketplace concept in that the brands and businesses and agencies that pay us are paying for access to the help desk or to the mentoring environment And when they help you, you're going to see that they represent a brand. So actually don't sell advertising. We don't do any of the typical monetization strategies. What we do is we say to the brands and businesses and agencies in the hunting world that you need hunting to come back. You need hunting to grow, and you have people who can help new people and traveling people and people that are new to an area. You have the people who can help them. Why don't we reward you with advertising if you help them? And so what we like to say is that Powderhook, from a brand's perspective, it's a mentoring tool that pays for itself. So if you're willing to help mentor new people as a brand or business or agency, we're willing to help put your product in front of those people. And so as a user of our technology, what that looks like is you've got a whole bunch of people today, almost 1,800 people who are literally waiting for you to ask a question or to engage with them so that they can teach you what you need to know in order to have a good day hunting.
I love it. We're going to have to leave it on that note, but folks, download the app, Powderhook. You can do so on your Apple device. You can do so on your Android device, and join the community. Be part of this community of 1,800 people that are hunters and people that want to be hunters, and make a commitment to get someone new out in the field this fall. Eric, thanks for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thanks, Jeff.
There's no more majestic, magical, adventuresome country than the western United States of America to enjoy a great family vacation. Hello, I'm Mark Hemstreet, owner of Shiloh Inns. Shiloh Inns are still offering affordable 4-star accommodations at 2-star prices. Enjoy deluxe smoke-free suites, spacious pools and spas, and fully equipped fitness centers. From free high-speed internet in every room to a free continental breakfast or full, hot, delicious breakfast at most Shiloh Inns. There are no hidden fees like some of the big chain hotels charge. Even the kids stay free, and Shiloh Inns are dog-friendly. For reservations, call 1-800-222-2244 or visit our website at shilohinns.com. Shiloh Inns, affordable excellence. American family-owned and proud of it.
There's a place where the fishing is year-round, where the sun shines 300 days a year. The wineries and breweries are right downtown. The hiking and cycling offers spectacular views you just don't get in the big cities. Fortunately, the place is real and vibrant. It's the Dalles, Oregon, just 90 short minutes from Portland, along the gorgeous Columbia River, where the adventures are limited only by your imagination. Find out more at explorethedalles.com.
We've been telling you about Sportsman's Cove Lodge in Southeast Alaska for a while now, and there's a reason. They are the only Alaska lodge we talk about in this show. It's because they're truly Alaska's best lodge. The adventure starts with a float plane ride from Ketchikan, after which you'll get the chance to experience some of the best hospitality, food, and wonderful people you'll ever meet. Wildlife is abundant, from bears and deer to eagles and whales, and let's not forget the reason you're here, the fishing. Halibut, salmon, lingcod, rockfish, true cod, and more. It's all waiting for you in abundance at Sportsman's Cove Lodge. Book your trip today at alaskasbestlodge.com. That's alaskasbestlodge.com for Sportsman's Cove Lodge.
Looking to reel in the marketing opportunity of a lifetime? Then set the hook, because we've got it right here. America Outdoors Radio has sponsorships available, and we offer an affordable platform to reach thousands of listeners interested in fishing, hunting, and the outdoors. Find out more by contacting host John Cruz through his website at AmericanOutdoorsRadio.com. That's AmericanOutdoorsRadio.com. But hurry, if you wait too long, this big opportunity might just get away. That's AmericanOutdoorsRadio.com.
Backcountry Hunters and Anglers seeks to ensure North America's outdoor heritage of hunting and fishing through education and work on behalf of wild public lands and waters. Lend your voice to the fight by visiting www.backcountryhunters.org and join the 25,000 men and women who have pledged to defend wildlife and public access. You can also demonstrate your support by signing up for the 2019 North American Rendezvous in Boise, Idaho, May 1st to the 5th.
Hi, I'm Craig Boddington. I've written about hunting for 40 years, much of it in bear country. I trust my life to bear spray because the research is in. It stopped bears 92% of the time and prevented injury 98% of the time. Bear spray requires less accuracy and won't harm your companions or the bear. Carry bear spray in bear country. Keep it accessible and practice.
You're back in with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz, and I've got some fishing and hunting news to share with you. We'll start off with a Crappie USA event that happened at Old Hickory Lake near Gallatin, Tennessee. This tournament was held last Saturday, and this Crappie USA event, sponsored by Cabela's, drew 59 boats from 12 states, a record turnout. Stained waters and strong winds made for a tough day of fishing, but plenty of crappie were brought in for the weigh-in. In the pro division, Roddy Talley and John Baker from Alabama came out on top, taking home a check for $2,300. And in the amateur division, Johnny Clary and Dwayne Craig from Tennessee took home the first place trophy, along with a check for $1,300. You can find out more about a Crappie USA fishing event near you, and maybe compete too at CrappieUSA.com. From the Outdoor Wire, we share news about the Kayak Bass Fishing National Championship that took place last weekend in Shreveport, Louisiana. The winner, Mike L.C. of Mooresville, Indiana. He took home the $50,000 grand prize and $23,000 in additional prize money. That is a nice payday. The KBF National Championship is a catch photo release tournament which takes place over 3 days. 461 anglers from 43 states competed. On the first 2 days, competitors electronically submitted their 10 longest fish, not heaviest, but longest, which were certified by a team of judges. The top 100 anglers then got to fish on the final day for the $50,000 grand prize. LC's winning 15 fish total measured nearly 289 inches, besting the second-place finisher, Drew Gregory of Wingate, North Carolina, by 16 inches. Also from the Outdoor Wire, we can share the state of Wyoming is seeing a marked increase in hunter interest, especially when it comes to elk. Wyoming Game and Fish saw an increase in non-resident elk applications for this season. Non-residents submitted 23,750 applications, nearly a 3% increase from 2018. Add to that the state's Access Yes program, which has opened up some 2.8 million acres of private or landlocked public land to hunters and anglers, and there are several good reasons to head to the Cowboy State this fall. Next on America Outdoors Radio, we are taking you to the combined border of Wyoming and Utah. That's where you're going to find one of the best fishing lakes in the nation, especially when it comes to lake trout and kokanee. That body of water is Flaming Gorge Reservoir, and one person that calls that lake his home water is Colton Christenson, the owner of Christenson's Lakeshore Tackle out of Utah. Colton, great to have you back on the show.
Hey, thank you, John.
So, Colton, I know you just went out kokanee fishing. How did it go?
Well, it was a little rough. This was our first time out this year. We've got a lot of ice on the lake still, so there's only a little bit of open water.
This is a big reservoir. Exactly how big is Flaming Gorge Reservoir in terms of miles from north to south?
You know, we're pushing about 92 miles of shoreline, and half of it's in Utah and half it's in Wyoming.
Well, that ice is melting as we speak. Spring is definitely here. So let's talk about some ice out tactics for both kokanee and lakers. We're going to start off with kokanee because I know that's the one species you love to catch more than any. How do you like to catch those kokanee in Flaming Gorge Reservoir right after the ice comes off?
So I'm trolling shallow water. I'm trolling from the surface down to maybe 40 feet, trolling little squids and dodgers. About 1.5 mile an hour, maybe 1.8, tipped with corn or maggots, and just trolling shallow water right off the surface.
So when it comes to kokanee, are you a believer in scent at this time of year or not?
I think a little bit of scent all the time is great, just to get your scent off of the baits. A little bit of scent's not going to hurt anything.
And when it comes to colors, I know a lot of kokanee lakes, the favorite color is pink. Is that the same in Flaming Gorge Reservoir right after ice out?
Yes, pinks and a lot of times even chartreuses and oranges, but pink's our favorite color year-round.
And as for the Dodger, what sort of a flash do you have on that? Is it just bright chrome or something else?
Bright silver colors. There's also our favorite, which is moon jelly or sun jelly reflective tape on a chrome Dodger.
All right. And by the way, folks, you can get all of this from Christensen's Lakeshore Tackle, either at Sportsman's Warehouse stores throughout the West, Cabela stores throughout the West, or at their website, lakeshoretackle.com. Let's change from kokanee to lake trout. And I know that the limits have been increased by Wyoming Game and Fish. You're getting to have too many lake trout in the lake. How do we catch some of those lakers and thin them out?
Yeah, so both Utah and Wyoming, they increased the limit from 8 fish to 12 fish, and they actually went to a 2-day position. So if you're coming out here for the weekend, you can now take 24 lake trout home with you.
Wow.
And to catch those, a lot of people are using our 2-inch squids for these smaller pups, which is a small lake trout, and doing the exact same tactics for kokanee, but we're sending it further down, 50, 70 feet deep.
That's interesting to me because a lot of kokanee anglers in other western states, they're looking for that kokanee at that range, 50 to 70 feet deep, and they're looking for lake trout a lot deeper. Is Flaming Gorge Reservoir a really deep reservoir, or is 70 feet kind of close to the bottom?
No, it can be deeper, but as of right now, spring tactics, that's what I would be doing. Later on in the summer, as things warm up, we'll start fishing kokanee deeper and deeper. I've actually fished kokanee from 80 to 120 feet before, and the lake trout even deeper than that. But as of right now, this spring, I would be fishing kokanee really close to the surface and lake trout 50 to 70 feet. And as things start warming up, I would go deeper and deeper for both species.
Gotcha. I suppose we should mention the size of these fish. As of last year, it's too early to say this year, but as of last year, what was an average size kokanee? What was an average size laker? And what qualifies as a big one for both species from Flaming Gorge Reservoir?
So our kokanee are averaging 2.5, 3 pounds.
Wow.
We're getting them up into the, 5, 6. Our record's 6.5 pounds up here, and I've actually seen them even bigger than that they didn't want to go get them certified.
That is absolutely amazing. And what about the lakers?
So lake trout, you're going to see a lot of fish right now, 12 to 20 inches. Those are our pups. Those are the ones we're having a population problem with. But as far as a big fish, you'll see them over 40 pounds. Our record's in the 51, 54 pound range.
That is one heck of a Mackinac. We're going to have to leave it at that, Colton. But, folks, if you want to find out more about fishing Flaming Gorge Reservoir, check out both Wyoming Game and Fish and the Utah Department of Natural Resources websites. They've both got great information. You can also contact Colton Christenson through his website at lakeshoretackle.com and through his Facebook page. They've got some great information. And if you need products for fishing Flaming Gorge Reservoir, whether it be for kokanee or those lakers, just go to lakeshoretackle.com or check out a Cabela's or Sportsman's Warehouse store just about anywhere in the Rocky Mountain and Pacific Northwest. Colton, thanks for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Hey, thank you, John.
After you buy some tackle from lakeshoretackle.com, check out a few other websites. One of them should be talkamericaradio.us. It's an internet station. It is the voice of conservative talk radio, and we are part of their lineup every Saturday morning from 6 to 7 a.m. Eastern Time. If you want to hear this show on demand, all sorts of places to do so, to include our Facebook page at America Outdoors Radio. Be sure to give that a like, our website, and we've got several platforms we air on to include Podbean, Stitcher, and YouTube. Just look for America Outdoors Radio. I know I have sure enjoyed getting out there for some fishing during the last week or two, and I hope that you've been able to get out and enjoy some of our spring weather as well. It's not perfect all over our United States, but by and large, that weather is getting better. The grass is starting to green up, the flowers are starting to bloom, and there's a lot of fun to be had out there, whether you're an angler or a hunter or a hiker, and even, with the weather warming up, a camper too. Here's hoping the good Lord blesses you in the days ahead, and here's hoping you get out there to enjoy one or more of these activities in the weeks ahead as well. After all, it is your country and your outdoors, so get out there and enjoy it.
Looking to reel in the marketing opportunity of a lifetime? Then set the hook, because we've got it right here. America Outdoors Radio has sponsorships available, and we offer an affordable platform to reach thousands of listeners interested in fishing, hunting, and the outdoors. Find out more by contacting host John Cruz through his website at AmericanOutdoorsRadio.com. That's AmericanOutdoorsRadio.com. But hurry, if you wait too long, this big opportunity might just get away. That's AmericanOutdoorsRadio.com.